Hello, chess fans. Welcome to another episode of Chess Chat, a program brought to you live from the new studios and state-of-the-art production facilities at Fitchburg Access Television at 780 Main Street in Fitchburg. I am your host, George Berejanian, Program Director of the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University. This club, the second oldest chess club in Massachusetts, meets every Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 10:30 in rooms 142 and 143 of the McKay Complex at the university. And with me for this edition of Chess Chat is our award-winning director, Darren Dame of Fitchburg, recipient of FATV's prestigious Boulder Award, and now in his 17th consecutive year as director of Chess Chat. He's assisted in the control room by fellow resident and longtime Wachusett Chess Club member and club technician, Brian Bigelow. And sitting across from me is my colleague, my longtime associate, a chess author, a chess photographer, Wachusett Chess Club statistician, my good co-host, Dave Kuchar of Westminster. Hello, Dave.
Hey, George.
Good, always good seeing you, Dave.
Good to see you.
Well, Dave, in a couple of days, a former world champion will be celebrating his 60th birthday. Mm-hmm. Who might that be?
That would be Garry Kasparov.
Garry Kasparov is the man.
Considered by many to be the greatest of all time.
Yes, there are many players who consider him the greatest chess player of all. And again, he'll be, his actual birthday will be actually on April 13th this year. He was born on April 13th, 1963 in Baku, Azerbaijan. A lot of players don't realize he was not born in Russia.
Right, right.
Although he considers himself Russian. Now, when he was born, his father was Russian. He was a Russian Jew. His father was Jewish. His mother was Armenian. But again, there was a large Armenian community actually in Azerbaijan. So that's where he was born and grew up. But he always considered himself Russian because Russian was the language. He grew up in Russian culture. Yeah. And Russian was the language, his native tongue. Yeah.
But you just reminded me, his father was Jewish, right? So
yes.
For when he was young, he went by Weinstein.
Yes.
Right?
And I'm glad you pointed out.
Yeah.
He was actually born Garik Weinstein, that's how they pronounce it in Russian. We would say Weinstein, the Russians say Weinstein. But anyways, he was known as a very young player as Weinstein. Yeah. But his mother, after his father died, he was 7 years old when his father died. And actually when he became 12, his mother made a request to have his name changed to her maiden name, because her maiden name was Kasparian,
right?
Although it was known as Kasparova.
Right.
Clara, first name was Clara, last name Kasparova, but she was really Kasparian, her Armenian name.
And I think part of that was that he was already showing promise as a chess player, right? And they thought if he goes by Weinstein, his progress is going to be hindered.
Well, there was still anti-Semitic sentiment, in the Soviet Union at that time. Right. So the Soviet authorities, the Soviet Chess Federation said, no, we want to Russify him, Russify his name. Right. No, we're not going to keep the name Weinstein. Right. So his name was changed to Kasparov. They Russified his name, basically, and it was the form of his mother's maiden name. Okay. So he showed talent at a very young age. Right. In fact, he went to Mikhail Botvinnik's chess school, I think when he was like 12 years old or 10, and really progressed rapidly by going to chess school. Now, when did he become world champion? What was the year that he became world champion?
1985, I believe.
1985, and whom did he beat to become world champion?
Anatoly Karpov.
Now, I haven't been paying attention to our monitor. We've been showing photos. Actually, there are photos of Kasparov. Here he is as a teenager. I don't know what year this was.
Yeah, that was winning the World Youth Championship.
Did he win the World Youth?
I think that's Nigel Short on the right.
Nigel Short of England on the right?
I think so,
yeah, it does look like Nigel Short. Okay. So anyways, it was 1985 that he defeated Anatoly Karpov, who By the way, how did Anatoly Karpov become world champion? Yeah. Oh, here's the match. Right. Anatoly Karpov was on the left, Kasparov on the right. This is from the 1985 World Championship match. Yeah. And again, when he won it in '85, he had to defend his title. He defended the title in 1986.
Right.
And then in 1987, he played Karpov again.
Right.
And the last time he defended his title against Karpov was 1990. Mm-hmm. Now you told me, of course, I already knew this, but you refreshed my memory that there was a rift in the World Chess Federation.
Right.
Remember, the title he won was world champion, which was actually organized, sponsored by the World Chess Federation.
Right.
But he had a dispute with the World Chess Federation in 1993, and went his separate way.
Right.
And played a match. He played a match. Who did he play? Was it
Nigel Short?
Nigel Short of England, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so he became the Professional Chess Association world champion until he played in 2000. He played Vladimir Kramnik. Do we have a photo of his match against Vladimir Kramnik? We'll see actually the photos that remain. Oh, this is now from 1995.
Right.
Now we should tell our viewers this was actually. This is a photo from the top floor of the World Trade Center.
Right, a publicity photo.
It's a publicity photo. This is not actually. He's playing.
They didn't play there. Right?
No, they didn't play. He's playing Vichy Anand of India. That's Vichy Anand is a promo. It's a photo op on the top floor. They played down. They played inside.
Right.
Inside the World Trade Center. But he won his match against Vichy Anand, and this was again when he lost to the computer.
Right.
Deep Blue. This was 1997.
97 or 98? I think it was 97.
Okay, yeah. So it was after his match with Vichy Anand.
Yeah.
Okay, that he lost. Okay, and this is when he lost his title.
Right.
In 2000 to fellow Russian, fellow Soviet player. No, actually, it was already
Russia at that point.
The Soviet Union had already been dissolved.
Right.
This is Russian Grandmaster Vladimir Kramnik on the left that he lost his title to.
Yep.
All right. So, anyways, what else can we say about Kasparov? Oh, by the way, here's a little tidbit, little trivia. Mm-hmm. I learned from Kasparov, from his postings, that why he was named Gary or Gary, in Russian. He claims in his own writings that he was named after U.S. President Harry Truman.
Really?
Harry is an equivalent of Gary. The reason why he was named after, he claims, it's his own claim now, he's named after Harry S. Truman, is that his father admired Harry Truman because of his fight against communism. Mm-hmm. He liked his father loved this American president who did not like communism. Mm. I mean, so he named his son Garik, which is equivalent of a Harry. And Gary. Yeah, so that's Kasparov's own claim.
Interesting.
Yes, that's an interesting bit of tidbit. Okay, do you think we're ready to go into a game that you found for our viewers? Oh, here, sure. Okay. This is actually a photo of Kasparov at a simultaneous exhibition. I think he's playing nothing but young players, right?
Looks like it, yeah.
It looks like just youngsters. No adults there. He did that. I mean, he played at time exhibitions.
Lots of those, yeah.
Lots of those in his career. Yeah. So again, here is a more recent photo of him. Now he's been living in New York City. Remember, he left Russia after it dissolved. He's been living in New York City since 2013. So for the past 10 years, he's been a resident of New York City. Yeah,
and we can say he's vehemently opposed to Putin.
He's anti-Putin. Oh, yes, he has been a political activist. For many years. He's very anti-Putin. He thinks Putin is the worst thing for Russia.
And he was briefly jailed too, wasn't he?
He was jailed, right? Yeah, because he was a political opponent. Putin considered him dangerous. And got him jailed. Got Kasparov jailed. So he's still fighting against Putin in his writings, in his talks. So you found a very interesting game, a rather incredible game. That Kasparov played in 2000 in an international tournament in the Netherlands, in Vikance, Netherlands. It was a chorus tournament. The chorus spelled C-O-U-R-S, which was a British steel company, which merged with a Dutch steel company. But they sponsored this international tournament. like every year.
Right.
It was a major tournament. Now, who did he play in this tournament in Vikandze, Netherlands? It was a Dutch grandmaster.
This game, Luc
van Velde.
Yeah.
Luc van Velde, yeah. Who was no slouch.
Right, grandmaster.
He was a grandmaster, right. So Kasparov had white. How did he open his game against Dutch grandmaster Luc van Velde?
Opens with e4.
Okay. Excellent first move.
Controlling the center, opening lines for the bishop and queen.
All right. Okay. All right. So van Velde responds with the pawn on c7. It goes to c5. We have presented this defense many times. What is it called?
So that's the Sicilian.
Sicilian, one of the most popular defenses against those who play e4.
And Black's idea is to unbalance the position, and it reduces the probability of a draw because it's unbalanced.
It is unbalanced, right. Okay, how did Kasparov continue?
So he plays knight f3.
All right, good developing move.
Second move, yeah.
Yep. Now, of course, Black in this position has a number of good moves.
Lots of choices, yeah.
Can play the knight to c6.
That's very common.
Good move. Could play the pawn to e6.
Yep.
Is a good move.
Yep.
But what he played is another very popular response.
Yep.
Is the pawn to d6.
Yep.
Okay. So how does Kasparov play his third? What does he play on his third move?
He plays d4.
Okay, d4.
Again, he's opening lines for the bishop.
Right.
Controlling the center.
All right. Black's reply to that is to capture the pawn of d4 with the c pawn. C takes d4 is his move. So see that played on our monitor here?
Yep.
C takes d4. Okay. Now, what is Kasparov going to do? How is he going to recapture that pawn?
He captures with the knight.
Yes, the proper way to do it.
Captures with the queen is going to get driven away quickly.
Yes, he'll be attacked by the knight on c6 if the queen were to take it. All right. So now van Velde plays the knight to f6, attacking the pawn on e4.
Yep.
Okay. So what does Kasparov do now?
Again, this is very standard. He plays knight to c3 to defend it and develop a knight at the same time.
All right. Okay. Van Velde's move, what does he play? Well, he plays a move that we have presented numerous times on Chess Chat in past years. He plays the pawn to a6, which actually now controls this b5 square, so no enemy piece can go there.
That's the main idea.
Now, but this has a name. Now we have a variation of the Sicilian defense. What is it called?
The Najdorf.
Najdorf.
Yeah.
This Najdorf variation is named after a Polish-born Argentinian grandmaster, Miguel Najdorf. Yeah. Who, by the way, in that photo we showed of Kasparov playing Vichy Anand at the World Trade Center on the top floor, 1995, Miguel Najdorf was there.
Oh, really?
You know how I know? Because I was there. Back then, in 1995, I was sent by the Sentinel Enterprise to cover that match for the newspaper. And I met Najdorf. I didn't need him formally, but I said, I said who I was, and that was the end of it, basically.
Yeah, okay.
But Najdorf was there, a very, really one of the world's top players, in years past. Yeah. So, anyways, getting back to Najdorf, this is the Najdorf variation named after Miguel Najdorf.
Yep.
So, how did Kasparov continue after h6?
Right. Well, lots of choices here again.
Yep.
Bishop to g5 is common.
Yes.
Bishop e3, bishop d3, bishop e2 gets played, but in this case, bishop e3.
Okay. Now, with these moves we presented, are we seeing actually a transition to name changes as far as variation names?
Yeah, I think this is English attack is one of the names. Right?
Yeah, it's known as the English attack because English players, including
English grandmasters,
English grandmasters, British grandmasters, played this. There was an American grandmaster who also played this, and this variation is also known by his name, Robert Byrne, who was the chess columnist for the New York Times. So this actually has a couple of different names, but a lot of players call it the British attack. I know it as the Byrne variation. Yeah. All right. So it is now Black's move after bishop e3, and this is what van Velde does. He plays the pawn to e6. That was his sixth move. A good move because it's going to now make possible for the bishop to come out, allowing possible castling here. All right, White's move. What does Kasparov do?
So he plays f3.
Aha.
Partially to support this, partially to support a push of the pawn to g4 because he's going to be castling on the queen side.
Okay, that's his plan, the castle queen side. That's on the long side. Okay, after f3, Well, Fanvelli says, okay, my play is, and this is an event, is on the queen side.
Right.
So he advances his pawn to b5. We'll see that played on our monitor here. b5. He's already starting
his attack against the queen side.
The queen side, because he knows that the white's plan is to castle on the queen side. All right. What does Kasparov do now against that?
At this point, I'm sorry. Actually, he already plays g4, so he's starting attacking.
He's starting his attack
on the king side.
Right. He's supporting it by having the pawn on f3 defend the pawn on g4. All right. Now, Fanvelli does not want to have that pawn pushed to g5, attacking that knight.
Right.
So what he does, he plays the pawn to h6. Although the pawn can still advance to g5 because it's protected by the bishop, but Kasparov doesn't do that. What does he do now in response to h6 on his 9th move?
So now queen to d2.
Okay.
So he's opening.
He's vacated the d1
square so he can castle queen side.
All right. So after queen d2, well, right now white is way ahead in development of pieces. We got actually 4 pieces developed, and all black has developed is one piece.
Right.
So he's way behind in piece development.
Yep.
So he decides he's got to bring other pieces into play here. He plays the knight on b8 to d7. That's Fanvelli's move. That was his 9th move. We see it played on our monitor.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, he could have moved the bishop here and castled, but he sees the attack coming.
He sees an attack coming.
He's not going to castle at all.
No.
So
it's a case of first come, first serve in the Sicilian defense.
Yep.
Who's going to have the faster attack here? All right. So what does
Kasparov castles queenside?
Okay. So again, black is still behind in piece development, and the only square that this bishop, the light square bishop, can go to at this point is b7, and that's what he does.
Yep.
He plays the bishop to b7. Okay, that piece is developed. All right. Now it's Kasparov's 11th move coming up.
h4 again.
Yep.
Continuing the attack.
Right. His attack continues. Well, black says, okay, you're attacking king side, but I have attacking chances on the queen side.
Yep.
And he plays the pawn to b4 and attacks the knight.
Yep.
Now that knight can't stay there. The knight has to save itself. So what does actually Kasparov do on his 12th move? He moves it to what square?
To a4.
Okay. Now it's stuck because now in this right now in this position it cannot move anywhere because black controls the squares.
And it's also uncovering an attack against this pawn. So the queen's now attacking that pawn.
So the queen now is threatening to take that pawn.
Right.
Okay. So in response to that, because the knight goes there, what Fanvelli does, now he could have actually, as you pointed out to me,
it's more common.
He could have actually brought this queen from d8 to a5, defend the pawn on b4, but simultaneously attack the knight.
Right.
But he didn't do that.
Nope.
Instead, what he played, he advances the pawn to d5, allowing this bishop on f8 to protect the pawn on b4. Okay. Now, that could be actually considered inaccuracy, or could be.
Could be.
But again, he's getting some. But look at what he's doing though. By doing that,
that's right.
He's attacking this pawn e4 3 times.
Right, and I think I mentioned you. This was criticized as opening up the position or allowing the position to get opened up before he's castled, which is considered a sin in a way.
So this was criticized. This move was criticized.
You shouldn't open up the position before
you should be safe. You try to be safe
before your king is safe.
Yeah. Okay. So after d5, what did Kasparov do on his 13th move?
Bishop to h3, developing his final piece.
Yeah, you're right. That's just Okay, so bishop h3. All right. Now, I'm sure that Fanvelli does not like this advance of the pawn to g5.
Right.
That could be very uncomfortable for him. So he says, no, I'm going to be the one to go to g5 with my pawn.
Right.
So he plays g5 is the move that Fanvelli plays on his 13th move. All right. So now what does Kasparov do after Fanvelli plays g5 on his 14th?
It's sort of odd. He had just put the bishop here.
He just put there.
Putting it on G2.
Yeah.
Part of his thinking, I think, is that if the capture happens here, he can capture with the rook.
That's right. So. Okay. So if so he takes away the blocker. The bishop was blocking that file.
Right.
So by bringing it back to G2, he allows that rook to stay on that file. Okay. Here is where Fanvelli actually takes the pawn on A4. G takes H4. That's what he did. Okay, this could be dangerous here by taking here. Because what does Kasparov do in response to this?
Now he does take back with the rook, and so now he's got his rook on this half-open H-file.
Okay, right. And by the way, with this queen, the bishop, and the rook, it's attacked. This pawn is attacked 3 times, and it's only defended twice. So what Fanvelli does, he takes the pawn on D5 and captures the pawn on E4. This could be dangerous, taking this way, which he did. D takes E4.
Right. And now...
Now we're reaching a critical position here. It's Kasparov's actually 16th move.
16th move, right. And so, instead of... He could recapture this
he could have taken there.
But he doesn't want to put pawns on this E-file. He wants that E-file to be opened up so he can get at the king. So he just...
He advances.
Advances the G-pawn, G5.
Okay, G5. Okay. All right, so now the knight is under attack on F6. So, and he can't take the pawn here on G5 with the pawn because he would lose the rook. So he moves the knight on F6 to D5. So he's allowed, again, this stops him from taking the pawn because the queen actually would win the rook over here. But he's also trying to eliminate, could eliminate that very nasty bishop on E3.
Pieces, right.
Yeah, try to eliminate those attacking pieces. All right, so what does Kasparov do now on his 17th move?
So now that his rook is available to do this, he takes on E4. So now he's pinning this pawn against the king.
So we have 2 pieces attacking the pawn on E6. However, it's protected by the pawn on F7.
Protected, but
okay, but this is still dangerous. This is still dangerous with the rook on E4. Here is where Fanvelli takes the pawn. Do I see H takes G5? Yes. H takes G5. Let's see it on our monitor. Okay. Now, here is a case where Kasparov does what? Is actually he takes the pawn,
it
right?
Recaptures.
He has it,
the pawn, attacking the queen.
Right. Okay, so this is going to force the queen now. It has to save itself. The queen now actually goes to A5 for the first time, which he could have done earlier. We pointed out that could have been played actually earlier. Now he plays it, attacks the knight on A4. So what is Kasparov going to do now? He's got a knight under attack here. So what's he going to do?
He's not worried about the material. He just continues with the attack against the king.
Now I know
F4.
No, I know some players who actually would play the pawn to B3 just
I certainly probably would have done that.
But Kasparov realizes no. He doesn't have to waste time thinking about losing a knight on A4. His idea is to attack. So with F4, well, here is where Fanvelli now plays the rook on H8 to H2, pinning the bishop. Okay, so that's rendered the bishop now unmovable. So what does Kasparov do now after rook H2? What does he do?
So again, he's left this knight open to attack, and now he's going to sacrifice this one. Knight takes E6.
Oh, wow. Knight takes E6.
Completely ripping open the defenses.
Holy cow.
Of the king.
Okay, so Fanvelli takes the knight. He takes F takes the knight on E6. That was his move. Okay, that was the move. And now comes Kasparov's 21st move.
Rook takes E6, check.
Check. Ooh, this is looking very ugly for black. So what he does is he moves the king. Now he's not going to block. He can't block. First, he certainly cannot block with this knight. If he brought the knight back, he's going to lose this first. So with the queen taking on D7 check for one thing. No, he's going to be mated here.
That's terrible.
Terrible. That's
really has no choice.
He decides to try to make a run for it. Will he be able to make a run for it? he goes, his only move here with the king is king f7.
Yep.
That's what he does. It's now here comes a great move. Look at it now. Before we present this Kasparov's next move, look at we'll have our board if we have our camera show. We have right now a position where how many pieces are on? We have actually
Knight's under attack.
Knight's under attack. The rook is under attack. Yeah, the bishop's paralyzed on g2. So after king f7, what does Kasparov play?
He ignores.
He ignores the whole thing and plays
Queen to d3.
What is he now threatening by playing the queen to d3?
Well, he's threatening queen g6 checkmate.
That is checkmate. He's now saying checkmate with the queen to g6 if the game is over.
Right.
All right. So what Fanvelli does after queen f5 check, he could
take the rook.
He could take it,
but he realizes that
no, that would allow the queen g. Still queen g. It actually it would lose the game. What he does here, let's play the move he actually played. Queen d3, right?
Queen d3. Now he plays bishop g7.
Now he plays bishop g7, thinking he can hide behind the bishop.
Right. If the queen comes here, he can hide.
He just hide on g8. All right. So after king g8, what does Kasparov do?
Queen f5 check.
Absolutely.
So bringing in the queen to help out.
Okay. So the king now hides. Hides over here.
His only move.
Right. Yeah. Right.
King. I guess he could. He could have interposed.
Well,
the
he
bishop,
could block. But then we actually have exchanges. No, this is not going to help things by blocking. He thinks he's got a good chance of hiding.
Yeah.
Right? But really not. What does Kasparov do next on after the king is? This is a very good move. Taking with the rook.
Rook takes d5.
Right. Rook takes d5. Okay. Now he cannot. Fanvelli cannot take that bishop. The rook on d5 with the bishop, because we'd have a bishop taking back here, and look at the threat of the discovered check.
Right.
When the rook moves, it'll lead to mate. Yeah.
Right.
So what he did, he said, okay, you took there. I'm going to take here, take the knight, have the queen protect this unprotected knight here.
Right.
And what does Kasparov do in response to that move? What does he play?
So now he plays rook e7.
Wow. He plays. Now he is
He's threatening,
Well, actually, the big threat is actually moving f7, queen f7 check, followed by mate there. So this is where Fanvelli resigned.
Right.
There's no defense here?
There's no defense.
Okay. What if actually, for example, he were to go here? Does that help things? Going here on this side, so he's not subjected to a. This doesn't work because Kasparov just simply take the bishop. The rook takes right here. Just take like that.
He takes there.
Right. Yeah.
And then black takes back.
Right. Exactly. And now we can take here with check. We got a. Do we have a mate threat?
I think so. Yeah.
We take here like this check. And he only actually has.
He could take with the queen, but he give up the queen.
He gives up the queen. So that's why he resigned after rook e7. So, anyways, a thrilling game, a Tal-like game. Right. It reminds me of Mikhail Tal. So I hope our chess fans enjoyed the game that Dave and I presented to you. Our plans are for our next episode of Chess Chat is to present you the World Chess Championship, which is actually being played right now in Kazakhstan. They just played game 2 of a 14-game scheduled match, and Yan Nepomniachtchi of Russia won today. They drew their first game. The second game was won. So hopefully we'll present you detailed final results of the 2023 World Championship on the next edition of Chess Chat.